So we're going to do our third type of rock today, and that's going to be metamorphic rocks. Now, where do metamorphics come from? Well, what does it mean? It means to change form or to be transformed. And this is going to be by heat, pressure, or chemical reactions deep, deep, deep underground. So when you're talking about metamorphic, you're really talking about mantle here. So metamorphic rocks come from a couple of places. First of all, they actually were once either an igneous rock or a sedimentary rock. So what happens is that you take an igneous rock or a sedimentary, you add enough time, heat, and pressure, and you are going to get a metamorphic rock. So any rock can be changed into a metamorphic rock. The deeper a rock is buried, the more pressure and temperature applied. And remember, plate tectonics cause these changes. That's why it was so important that we learn those first. So as we've done with the other families here, I want to talk about the minerals you're going to find in metamorphic rocks. And again, remember, rocks and minerals are not the same thing. Minerals are just the building blocks of rocks. You're going to find talc, and you would know talc from baby powder. Chlorite's another one. Garnet's the red that you see here. And magnetite, and believe it or not, I'm sure you can tell by its name, magnetite actually is magnetic. All right, so here's Bill Nye for a quick 30 seconds.
Type of rock. It's sort of a combination of the other two. We call it metamorphic rock. Now, metamorphic means it's changed. It's metamorphosized. So, if you look at this is rock that was once sand, but it's been smushed together by huge pressures under very high heat. Pressure and heat smashing the rock till it's just crushed flat like this. See, heat and pressure formed another rock.
All right, so metamorphic types come in two flavors. They are foliated and non-foliated. Foliated, let's see, I've got a couple examples here. This is foliated and this is non-foliated. So let's get into them. What's the differences between the two? Well, foliated are crystals that are arranged in a band or pattern. I don't know if you can see this one here. They have a striped appearance. They can look like the zebra rock down here. And due to extreme pressures that squeeze the rock so tightly, the minerals will actually line up in flat parallel layers. And you'll actually be able to see these right on the rocks. Examples or names of some foliated rocks include gneiss, and this is made from granite. You don't say the G, it's just gneiss. And then slate from shale. So let's talk about non-foliated rocks. Non-foliated rocks are what I like consider the nose and the knots. So they are crystals that are arranged randomly. So there is no pattern and no layers. A very famous example of this is white marble, and it's because it's in a random pattern. So I was just talking about marble comes from limestone, and quartzite actually comes from sandstone, and these are two names of non-foliated rocks. So let's talk about observations when you are looking to decide between a foliated and a non-foliated rock. How do you know? Well, first of all, does the rock have layers? And when I'm talking about layers, I'm talking about like lasagna. So when you eat lasagna, you know how you have the tomato sauce and the noodles and the meat, right? And those go on top of each other. That's exactly what a foliated rock looks like. Now, does the rock have bands on top? And this one that I was showing you here actually has bands on top. Or is it random with no pattern? And in that case, it's going to be a non-foliated rock. So let's talk about some uses of metamorphic rocks. So we use them for materials in buildings and sculptures, like the lions that you see here. Marble and slate are the two most common. Some famous uses of marble include the Lincoln Memorial. They like it because it's very easy to polish, and you can carve it into many different shapes. Now, uses of slate. If you guys ever heard way back in the 1800s when kids went to school, they had to bring slate and chalk. And slate comes in all different types of colors. It allows to be split very easily because it's foliated. We use it nowadays in flooring and roofing. We have some slate here on the farm in an outdoor walkway.
direction. Hey, changing each and every way. It started with erosion, sedimentary layers, and then the heat and pressure, becoming metamorphic. Rocks up on the magma, Indian supported fire. These are types of rock. Steady changes in heat and pressure, rising from the earth, create metamorphic rocks. Gravity falling in place, squeezing mineral space. Energy fuels chemical reactions taking place. We will rock you.
All right, summary time. So here we go. So describe the process of creating metamorphic rocks. Make sure you can contrast foliated versus non-foliated. Give the names of 3 metamorphic rocks and give 3 uses of metamorphic rocks. So that takes up our third and last in our process of the classification of rocks.